Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are not going to be talking about what different career options are available to you after BDS or after MDS, but rather it's going to be a very enriching session because today we are going to be talking to a very seasoned, a very experienced, a very renowned clinician and academician, Dr. Pradyumna Misra sir. A lot of people who would be watching this must have been his students as well because he's not just been into academics, he's also been the principal of certain dental schools around the country, and he has over 30 years of experience. So there are a lot of learning experiences which are coming on this video. So this video particularly I think is not just for students, but it's for anybody who aspires to have a career in the academics, right? So if you want to pursue a career in dentistry, in academics specifically, I think this is a video for you. It's for all teachers, all students, because there's just so much to learn from in this particular video. And I think without making this introduction any more longer, let's just start with this. And most of all, I would like to thank Sir for taking out time and for really doing this video because um, I think I came out more knowledgeable then and more. I came out happier after this video. So I'm sure you would catch on this vibe and you would be a happier person after you watch this video. There are some fantastic learnings which are coming your way. So yes, if you did like it, please go ahead, like the channel, subscribe to it, share it with your friends and enjoy it. Like we do start any session, we'll start your story from the very beginning. So please do tell us if you wanted to become a doctor since you were a little kid, or is this something that happened much later?
No, not at all. I never wanted to become a doctor. Actually, I have a background of defense services. My father was a flight lieutenant in the Air Force. So we grew up in the Air Force campus, seeing defense personnel, pilots, and everybody. So our aspirations and ambition was to become one of them one day.
Okay.
And maybe I was a little more interested, physically active. So I always wanted to join defense services. But God has his own plans.
Yeah.
So it happened that I came into dentistry or medical field.
Okay.
So this is the
And this was very fairly interesting because I didn't know this part about you because my dad is also was in the army. So
hmm.
that's something common we share. Fantastic stuff. So, and you landed up at
Eh,
such a premier institute. You were at KGMU. KGMG is
yeah.
what it was called back in the day. So how was it?
Yes, yes.
How was BDS when you had joined it? Because I'm sure it must be very
See,
different.
KGMC, King George's Medical College, that time it was called as. Um, Actually, I was not very serious as I told you about dentistry or medical field. But since my friend was there, we were going to coaching together what to do. So we eventually got selected, qualified CPMT those days. It was called as combined pre-medical test.
Right.
Got into dentistry at KGMC. That was the only government dental college or any dental college in UP.
Okay.
That was way back in 1987. So since it was a government college, everything was well established. Teachers were very senior teachers, experienced teachers. A lot of patients were there. And there was definitely a strictness because the teachers were very senior, so they were of a different generation with different values. So definitely it was tough for us. Timing, sincerity, discipline, and of course, since it was a government college, there's no connection. You can't push them. You can't put a word to them. They never care. So it was difficult. And we were a batch of 60 students. There were 10 foreigner students also nominee. So in total, 70 students, where four were from abroad: Philistine, Iran, Malaysia, and Bhutan.
Oh,
The rest were Indian nominees. Yeah. So it was tough. Definitely, we had, and we stayed in the hostel. It was government hostel. We definitely enjoyed their introduction, small time of ragging, fanfare. But overall, I really cherish those moments. So loved them. Mm.
yeah. And so this was 5 years back then also when you had joined it, 5 years in BDS.
No, those days BDS was 4 years, and it was our I don't know, luck or bad luck. before we finished our final year, there used to be 6 months of house job, and then people get it into post graduation. But ours was the first batch in 91, 92 when the compulsory rotatory internship started. So that was one thing we had to do, complete 1 year of rotatory internship. And ours was the batch who faced postgraduate medical entrance examination, that is called as PGME.
Okay.
For getting into PG courses, that is MDS.
Okay.
Before that, it was final year or 4 years merit, which used to decide about their postgraduate subject.
Okay.
So we appeared in the PGM, yeah.
Right, right. Which would have been my next question, because I remember that there was a time wherein your final year marks would decide where you would go for post graduation. So then you decided right after your BDS that you had to do your post graduation, or did you take some time and
Yes, no, right away. Because once we entered into field of some specialty, I thought why not get the maximum possible qualification available. So MDS was definitely my choice. And as I tell students also, and I told myself way back in 93, that I'm not thinking today, I'm thinking 20 years hence, आज से 20 साल बाद की दुनिया कैसी होगी? What will be the status of a BDS doctor? So I thought God gave me this understanding that I could understand, and I thought about 20 years hence what will happen. Now it's almost 30 years. So I was very serious about getting into MDS, and we had a tough competition, though not as tough as nowadays, because there only one dental college, few students prepared thoroughly, seriously through the books, basics, MCQs, and everything, and got through in the first attempt only.
Oh, fantastic.
And that was the year when my marriage was also decided.
Oh, okay.
It was February. My marriage was decided February, but because of the examination, I was so serious. I said, no, I will not get married. You postpone. My main thing is first I get into post graduation, then only marriage. So my marriage got postponed to 30th April.
Okay.
So that was the.
Oh, nice.
And please come.
You
Yeah.
had decided back then that you wanted to pursue a PG in endodontics, or was something else in your mind at that time?
I was confused between oral surgery, which I liked, and conservative, which was more practical according to me. I was never interested in ortho or any other branch. So I thought over it, discuss a few bit, and then I decided conservative. Though I had option of all the, because my rank was second position in the post graduation entrance examination, PGME. So all the other branches were open. Everything was open to me. But then I had less interest in orthodontics, which was a premier subject. Those days, a very sought after subject. But my interest was into practically, which I liked, and that was conservative.
Okay.
That those days it was called as operative dentistry.
Okay, yeah, right, right.
Yes, yeah. So that's the way how I selected operative dentistry, now called as conservative dentistry.
So the reason why I asked this was just to give a brief context to the viewers, is because this is something that a lot of students face even now. Not everybody is very clear with what it is that we need to go forward with, and we are usually confused between 2 or 3 subjects that we really end up reading a lot and liking in final year. So it's okay, you can make up your mind towards the end also, that's fine. And so what after and MDS at your time, it was for 2 years, is it?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay. And while you were doing your MDS, so did you have a plan that this is what I'm going to do after I've done my MDS? Were you interested in academics, or did you have some other plan going on at the time?
No, actually, I was not very clear. Though I belong to Allahabad, and Allahabad never had any endo specialist, I could have gone back to practice and flourished. But then I asked my mentor, my guide, Professor C.P. Govila,
Right.
who was there, my guide. So I said, sir, I'm confused. So what to do, whether to go into practice or go into teaching. I still remember his words. He said, if you go into practice, people will know you in the city, and you'll have good amount of money, and you'll enjoy it. But if you go into academics, people will know you in the country and or abroad, and you'll have good money to live your life happily. So those were two words he said. 2 lines, he said. Then I thought, and I naturally had a bent of teaching actually. Since my student days, I used to take classes during those Teachers' Day. I used to teach. So I decided to teach.
Fantastic, fantastic. And this is
Mm,
important. This is something that is important for everyone to realize, because teaching again is not for everyone. But then
mm.
I think it gives you a profound sense of fulfillment, which nothing else does, right? Being a teacher is a very fulfilling job, at least when you get to see that you can explain certain things to students.
Yes,
And
yes.
after that, you didn't stop there. You've done lasers from Phoenix, Arizona. And what took you
Mhm.
there, sir? Like, what changed? Why lasers at the time, and why Arizona?
Lasers, when I went in 2010, 11, I think 10 to 2012, I suppose, yeah. So lasers were coming up in every field of dentistry, in medical also, but in dentistry also, they were coming up very fast.
Right.
So I got a chance with my another 3, 4 friends who were interested in lasers, and that time we had not bought the laser, but we had done few small courses in India. But those courses were not very fulfilling or satisfying our urge. So we thought, why not do something, go abroad, let us see where the laser is more developed. We thought of Europe also, but then Europe did not materialize. In between this course from ALD, that is Association of Laser Dentistry, America, it came up. And it was Phoenix, Arizona, where they were conducting 3 days of conference with hands-on courses. A lot of deliberations were there. So that's the way we went there. We thought, why not? This is an international platform. We presented papers also there,
Okay.
and it was really great experience because laser there, the way they taught, it was totally different. What was told to us in India,
Okay.
art
And
tissue, whether it's a soft tissue, whatever it is. Yes.
right. And that would be my next question. That how different was your experience there in US? So it was good. You were there for how long, sir?
We were there for a week actually, and the conference we were there for 4 days. The difference in India, and they are very focused on the subject.
Right.
The other things are not there, like any formalities or greetings or long introductions, nothing like. They're very focused. They do not waste time in these pleasantries and all, and they start the program. Good lectures, highly qualified people. People were there who had started or who had, rather you can say, invented lasers. People from Italy, Marconi, I still remember, and there was a gentleman from US. I'm forgetting his name. It's a long time now. So it was totally different. It was very focused
Right.
and time bound. It was like that.
Okay.
So it was more of education than fun, as we see most of the time in India.
Right. And all this while you've been in academics and you've had a clinical practice of your own.
No, I didn't have clinical practice earlier. I only started my practice when I came to Lucknow, which is my native now. Because I was in the first 6 years of my teaching, I was down south in Karnataka.
Oh,
I was teaching in various, because that time the dental colleges were not there in UP. In
okay.
95 at December I finished. In 96 when I wanted to teach, although colleges like Saraswati and Sada Patel and Subharti and Santosh, they were coming up, but I was not very sure how well they will do. So I went down to south, and there was another interest. My wife also did BDS. I wanted her to do post graduation. I wanted her to pursue post grad. So that, and their chances of getting into post graduation was easier. So that was another reason. So I stayed there for 6 years teaching in various colleges. So
Right.
I used to go as consultant endodontist. I didn't have my own practice.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you shifted over here. So how was your experience overall down south, and now you're here in the north? How you've seen it all almost.
No, in between, I let me add something. Down from south, I came down to Mathura in 2001, started KD Dental College. I
Okay.
stayed in Vrindavan for 3 years, and from there, I moved to Saudi Arabia
Wow. Okay.
in the Ministry of Health. And that was a great experience. The amount of dedication they have in Saudi Arabia, we used to think, oh, I don't know what will be their place, how it will be. I'm talking in 2004-5. But the sterilization was impeccable. For every patient, we used to have sterilized instruments, sterilized burrs, sterilized files, sterilized handpiece, everything which we usually can't handle here because of the pressure of the patient, number of patients. There, the patients are limited. So that 3 years of experience taught me something different about the importance of the sterilization.
Right.
Which when I came back in 2006 to Lucknow, and I joined Babu Banarsidas, worked there. And you were asking about the difference between South to North. See, in North India, what I found the difference was that although the students are same, I do not blame the students. Students are same. Teachers and the management makes the difference.
Right, right.
Here we were little lax, the strictness was not there. The discipline was not that strict as it was down south.
Yeah.
So that was a little difference. But I'm very happy and satisfied because our students gradually, since I had an experience from the south, I try to inculcate that discipline and teaching. And the students are always same. I never blame students. They are the same, whether they are in this college or any other college. It is our the management and the faculty makes a difference. It's basically the faculty is very, very important. Yeah.
That makes all the difference. So you've had a very rich experience. You've been at so many places. I think that makes such a big difference to your own personality also. When you've been to so many places, you've imbibed the best things from
Yes.
there. So which is so
Yes.
important, isn't it? That's nice. So what does a usual day in your life now looks like? Now you have a practice of your own, and I know you're
Yes.
busy in a rental college also. So you go there in the morning, and then you come here in the evening. And so what's it like? Is it very busy or is it not?
No, it is busy and it's good. It's busy. See, my usual day starts by let us say 4:35 early in the morning. I go for a small walk, jog, and then come back, get ready, reach the college by 8:30. Our college starts by 8:30. We reach to college by 8:30, and then the teaching seminars, basic teachings to the students, and the clinical training, and the undergraduate training. And I'm heading the department, so I have to take care of everything. So, and it ends by 3:30, sometimes 4. And after 4, I come back, take a little nap, and then get ready, refreshing for the evening practice. So my practice starts from 6 to 9. By 9 I finish, and then off to maybe a little reading, a journal or something, and then off to bed. That's my usual day.
Very jam-packed, and you start your day very early in the morning. Uh,
Yeah, there is a reason behind that. I tell everybody, if you want, everybody has 24 hours in a day.
yeah.
But if you want 25 hours, get up 1 hour earlier. If you get up 1 hour earlier, you have 25 hours in a day. By the time people are sleeping 1 hour before, if you get up, you do something, you are 1 hour ahead of them. So that's the
This is
reason I get up early.
These are such golden words. In fact, I think this is so important what you're mentioning here. So, although this was supposed to come in much later, but I think I'd want you to talk about these two aspects. I think one is the transformation that you've brought in yourself. You're an excellent marathoner and you've been so for a while now. And I constantly keep seeing your posts on Facebook wherein you are, so actively involved in all these marathons. What kicked that part in your life? One is that, and second is this, I've seen so many people and so many very successful ones who say that, if you wake up early, because that's one problem with students. I wouldn't blame them again. I was one myself. I could study till very late at night, but I could not get up early. So I could sleep at 3:30, but probably not wake up. Could you give us one or two tips here and there? Because now I'm a mom, so by default I have to get up early. Not very early, but my day still starts at around 5:36. But I can see that difference. It really makes you can get a lot done in that half an hour or 1 hour. So if you could just talk about these two things, one, your marathon experience, and then of course this one or two tips as to how we can wake up early, how we can regulate our life.
Uh, See, getting up early is very important. If you sleep early, then only you can get up early because 7 hours of sleep is a must. And sleep is the time when your body gets repaired, every cell gets repaired, your heart gets rest, your mind gets rest, everything is very, very important. And growth hormones are released. So all your healing, growing, everything happens when you're sleeping. So sleep is very, very important. We should never compromise with the sleep. So I sleep little early, maybe 10:30. It's only occasionally when we have some get-togethers in the evening or some party, marriage or something, then only I get delayed. Otherwise, it's usually I sleep early, but maybe by 10 I'm off. Sometimes 9. And coming to, as you said, about fitness, marathon and all, I was always an active person. I was always an active sports person, whether it's for cricket or gym or cycling. I used to cycle a time. There was a time when I used to cycle 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers. But then it entailed maybe more time, 4 hours, 5 hours. So time was a constraint with me. So I shifted to running. And this is running also started after the post-COVID.
Oh,
During the COVID, we were so jam-packed. We were not allowed to go out. It was all lockdown. So probably that could be one reason that since we were put in a cage, we always wanted to come out and fly.
right.
So I started gradually running small. I used to run, but not this much. But gradually started running, met few friends, and it made difference to me. And I feel about updating. I update about two things mainly about my fitness things and about my college and my clinic things. About college and clinic, of course, I want to promote my college and my work. That is one reason. About my fitness is not to, here it is different. I don't want to promote myself. I just want to tell people when I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
The reason of my posting here, when I was a 110 kgs at time,
Yeah.
110 kgs I was. And way back in 2010-11, I was hypertensive. Thank God I was never diabetic. I was hypertensive in 2010-11. I was weighing around 110 kgs. Now I'm perfectly within the weight range, no medicines required. So this has helped me like this. So people who are 50 plus even, they can do this. That is why I update and tell people that you can also do it. When I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
See, simple thing is that. And there's another reason also. Everybody, acha, you come up with your next question. I think maybe yeah. What's your next question?
No, no, tell us, sir. Please tell us. Maybe if my question is different, we'll miss on the point. So I want you to talk about it.
No. Actually, again, let me continue. See, the marathon, I started running small time and then now I go into marathons, maybe 40. Then I go into ultra marathons, 50, 60, 70 kilometers. I run in hills also. Here also, I have run many times over the night. So there are two things which I notice. Running marathon, we don't run fast. We run very comfortably. We walk also. It's a time when I feel we are meditating.
Right.
Sometimes we forget where we are. We are meditating. Our mind is concentrated. We forget everything. We do not remember anything. Where we are practicing, what about college, what about house, anything. We just forget. That's a fact. And the reason that everybody should practice is that to have some hobby.
Yes.
Running is a hobby. People sing, people dance, people paint. So I read somewhere that you should do one thing for the kitchen and one thing for the soul.
That's very
So
nice.
what for the kitchen? Yeah, for the kitchen, I'm practicing, I'm teaching, I'm working, I'm practicing, I'm getting money, I'm practicing. So that's for the kitchen. But for my soul, how I should feel happy, how I am feel free, and I enjoy my life. That's my running. So marathon gives me something for my soul. That's the reason I run, and I'm still running, and I will keep running.
And you've said it so beautifully, and especially when you mention meditation, since I've just started with it, I can totally associate when you say it is very meditative, where you forget. So my next question is something slightly different. Why do you think this is something that kicks in at a certain point? Why do we realize that we need something like this? Because I remember in college when you're a student, you don't think of these activities like they're so important. Why do you need to meditate? All this does this even make sense? And like if I take my own self, I used to be like that person, that why is this important? Does it make sense? Is there a reason to go about it? And now I am that person who is doing the things which I once thought maybe would not be possible. So why does this shift occur? And
See, when we were younger, when we were students or maybe younger, we had uh, nothing else to bother about. We were only either bothered about studying or holidays and playing with friends and nothing more. We
yeah,
never even thought about parents sometimes. But now, once you are grown up, you are into working, you have to. Those days, there were no what do you call
carefree days.
relationships were also not there. We
Yeah,
were carefree days. Now the relationship with your spouse, with your kids, with your co-workers, colleagues, with your employer or your boss. So we are, and of course your work. So we are surrounded by so many things we need to balance, which we have to balance. Those days there was nothing to balance. We were carefree, never bothered about. Here we need to balance our boss, the employer, our work, our spouse, our kids, our, as a doctor, our patients, and our social circle. So there has to be a balance between everything. So probably that will the meditation will help us into these things. So probably that is why the meditation required. Though I don't sit and meditate,
No, but
when
this
I
is
run,
your
I
form
meditate.
of, yeah, this is your form of
Yeah,
running. Running is your
that's my way
meditation.
of.
Yeah,
Yes,
anything
it
that
is my
brings you
meditation.
peace is, I think, more
Hmm,
important. And this is how I
hmm.
truly understand, when people say that having peace of mind is more important than probably excess of anything else, right?
Peace of mind is most important. Yes.
We
Hmm.
underestimate it, but beautifully said, sir. So,
Hmm.
since we're talking about studenthood and students, so what are a few qualities that you think a student must have now? The kind of times that we are at where there's so much competition, especially I'll tell you what I feel, what students think. We're doing our BDS and we have to have everything figured out. We should know what our next step has to be right after we've passed out. Should we be doing an MDS? And if what if somebody is not very clear कि MDS अभी करना है कि नहीं करना है तो चलो he knows how to prepare. नहीं करना है तो how much time should you take? How should you think? If you could just tell us a little about that.
See, for students, I have a special place for students. I have never scolded a student or never made them feel humiliated a student, because students are students. I always made them understand. I never shout, never punish them. That's my nature for the last 26 years. I've never shouted or punished or humiliated in front of everybody. I make them understand. If you do this, this will happen. If you don't do this, this will happen. I just, because they're all adults, they're about teen, they're 18 plus, 17, 18 plus. So they should not be just shouted or scolded. I just try to make them understand. And I feel I am very successful with love. I have won many hearts.
Yes.
All the students, I try to make them understand. They understand. Eventually they understand, maybe little late. One thing. Now coming to the second part about, as you said about BDS, they're confused what to do post-graduation. See, there are two things. There are students who are skillful, who are clinically very active, who have natural abilities of doing things, making this, doing this. And there are students who are thinkers, who are philosophers, who are researchers. So they should know what is their basic aptitude.
Yeah.
I can be a good doctor, but being intelligent, but I cannot be a good engineer. Though I'm intelligent, I cannot, because that's not my aptitude. So aptitude is one very, very important thing. Once a person is doing BDS, post BDS, what should he or she should pursue? Whether a clinical branch or a non-clinical branch or a research-oriented branch, what? That is where the aptitude comes. If you are skillful, you feel good working with the patient, you are happy with the patient, fine. If you're happy sitting in the library, reading, making out data and all that, then you should go into research. So that aptitude, you have to visualize yourself, evaluate yourself. What is your basic interest? So that will make you understand whether you should go into research or into clinicals or into teaching. So there should be, in India, we have only one teacher doing everything actually.
Yeah.
Abroad, it is different. Researchers are different, clinicians are different, and the teachers are different. So I think students should understand the basic aptitude what student has,
Right.
and then decide which branch to go for, a clinical, research oriented, or a non-clinical one. Yes.
And this is such a valid way to put forward and to think how you must regulate or think about your career. Very nice, sir. And any last parting words for students? Anything that you feel now the students are lacking, or what they must work upon now, especially the generation who's studying now, what they are?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Students actually nowadays they are exposed to so many things, the digital world, the virtual world, and since they are young, they don't have that much of experience. They are getting confused. Parents are the parents are expecting too much. Teachers are shouting at them. They are studying, but they are not able to understand. So they are very disturbed. Some of them go into depression also. So as a teacher, I would like to tell them, make them understand, make them a little slow down, and be happy first. My mantra of life is first is to be happy without any reason. Without any reason, be happy. If you're happy, happy hormones are released. When the happy hormones are released, you are healthy. When you're healthy, you can do anything in a better way. Your efficiency will increase. So for me, happiness is number one. Then you get health, and then your work comes, and then of course you should have good intentions. Intention is a very, very important thing. If you have good intention, you have no malice in the heart.
Yeah.
You have no malice in the heart, you will be smiling. Everybody who sees you will be happy. So happiness breeds everything. That is what I believe very, very, very strongly.
And that is clearly
So
seen on your face also. You radiate happiness. That's so good.
our students need a lot of love. Instead of shouting and scolding, they need love and compassion. That's what I very strongly believe. They're, after all, they're kids. They're kids. We have to make them understand life has so many other facets also. It's not only school, BDS, MDS. There's a lot of other things coming up later. So we have to prepare them for that also.
Yes,
So
yes.
so that in future they don't have problem in their relationships.
That's so true because actually
So,
nobody teaches you about life in general. You're taught about things, but not how to live a good life, which is where we got lost, what I feel. These things
that's in my actually that is what happens. And for the last 26 years, I feel myself. I thought about my teaching. I teach less, I preach more actually. I felt like that. I teach less, I preach more. The reason of preaching is that if I am able to the the flame of, if I am able to that lighten that flame in your mind, I don't have to teach you. You'll start studying. So
Yeah.
I try to that put that flame
Ignite.
on. That's to ignite that flame. Yeah, the word ignite the flame. Once the flame is ignited, by self he will study, he or she will study. So I try to make them understand more than teaching. You can study from books, from the Google, from anywhere. So that's been my way of teaching them.
No, I think that is the way to teach because that is when you stay in your students' heart forever. Because that's how they'll remember you. I've had one or two teachers like this, and I remember them, and I'm always quoting them because when you can motivate somebody like this, then the teaching part to anybody will do. Just because you will enjoy that subject only because that teacher was so good. I have seen that
Yes.
difference at least when I was a student. I could feel that. So it was a pleasure talking to you, sir. I think this is one session which is not for students, it is for teachers as well. All of us need to sit and watch this. There's so much to take away from it. And, whatever you're saying, I feel you are living through that because you're clearly radiating all the glow, happiness, smile. And and I can see how students are around, they are so comfortable, cheerful, happy. And that smile that you can make out that they're just genuinely happy. And yeah, I think it's so nice to be at a working space where you're there. So I feel very happy. And thank you so much for doing this. It means a lot to me. You
Thank you so much, Ipshita, for giving me this chance to share my experiences, my views, and my way of life. Thank you so much for giving me such a platform to share everything.
No, no.